So good afternoon, everyone. This is the first episode from Today with JC because I tell it like it is. And for my first interview, I have the honor and the privilege to have Chacha, which is Shali Wagner. She's one of my students in California, and she have a podcast. It's a special podcast. So, Shali, before we start the podcast, can you please present yourself to the people who don't know who you are?
Hi, I'm Shali. I'm originally from Oregon, and I moved to California maybe 6 years ago. I live in Anaheim, and I just started taking Muay Thai about a year ago. And I have a podcast called The Slightly Credibles. This is our logo. It is a conspiracy theory comedy podcast hosted by myself and my very good friend, Abby Donovan. And it's available on pretty much all streaming platforms.
And why did you start the podcast? What was the main reason? Because it's slightly credible about conspiracy theory. Why?
So actually, the podcast was born out of this conversation. My friend Abby and I love talking about weird stuff. And I was like, hey, this would be a really fun podcast to make. And she agreed. And it just kind of was an idea for a long, long time. And then about a year after we had decided, that would be fun to do, I had applied for grad school and I lost my job. I worked for a really cool tech startup, and you know how startups are, they let people go. The business changed, and pretty much everybody that they had hired at the time that I was hired was let go. And I was at this point in my life where I was very unsure of what I was going to do next. And I decided, well, if I'm going to do this thing, now is a good time to do it because I have time. And there's no reason to be scared because if it fails, it fails. I thought I was going to have that job for a long time, and I didn't. I had it for about a year, and that was it. So you might as well do something that you want to do.
What make you choose the conspiracy theory? What make you choose a specific niche?
There's a lot of true crime podcasts. And I had listened to some conspiracy theory podcasts, but a lot of them were very serious. And my friend, Abby, was super into conspiracy theories too. So it was just a topic that we were both interested in. And we didn't know of any other podcasts at the time that were comedy conspiracy theory podcasts that were hosted by women. It's a very male-dominated topic. Mm. And I think probably 60 to 70% of our listeners are men.
Okay.
And so women out there, give it a try.
So what make your podcast different than the other one? Where would you see that?
What makes it different? Well, I guess I think that my relationship with Abby, our relationship back and forth and the comedy makes it different because it's not a serious conspiracy theory podcast. There's a lot of conspiracy theory podcasts out there that are serious. We have an element where we actually research. I typically do the research. But then we also make it funny. We comment on it and make it more relatable for everyday people. You don't have to wear a tinfoil hat to enjoy our podcast. Anyone from any background can listen to it and learn something. So we do pick topics from history, from science, pop culture topics, and we take suggestions from the audience as long as it's not going to be something that would be insulting or very sensitive, then typically we'll try to do it. If it's something that a lot of people have asked us to do 9/11, but we personally know people who have died in that. We have a friend that her uncle died in that, and we don't want to upset anyone. We want to choose topics that are enjoyable.
Okay. How many episodes do you have so far?
We have 17.
17. Now, how many countries in the world listen to your podcast?
15. We need 2 more countries, and then we'll be equal. We've had 15 different countries listen so far that we know of that have popped up on the analytics. Our top 3 countries, listenership-wise, I don't even know if that's a word. Our top 3 listening countries are the United States, Canada, and France.
Of course, French people.
I was really surprised because it's in English, but I guess a lot of French people speak English. We were also very popular in Brazil, and we were on the charts in Brazil. My dog is whining.
But France, I'm not surprised because do you remember the movie Conehead? When they say I come from
Yes,
France.
I know the Conehead. Give me one second.
I give you the time you want.
This is Lola.
Here we go. We meet the one. Now, Shali, what will be your main goal for your podcast? What do you want people to get off on this podcast?
So the main goal of our podcast is really to provide a weekly outlet for people to have a laugh, but maybe also learn something at the same time, or think about something in another way, to forget whatever is bothering them at work or their job, their family. You know, it's supposed to be entertaining. And really, we've built a pretty good sense of community too with a lot of our listeners, which I was not expecting for some reason, but that's been really fun. Moving forward, I'd love for more people to listen to it. I'd love for it to become something that people want to tune in and listen and share with their friends. And then I also want to start other projects. So I'm really into filmmaking. I like directing and writing and acting and all that. And I've met some people through the podcast that are filmmakers.
Like who?
So, Bradley Gallo was a guest on our podcast, and he is a producer at Amasia Entertainment. They've made The Call, Them That Follow, Mr. Right, and they're going to start making the Green Hornet television show.
Wow.
So because of the podcast, we got to meet him, which was very, very exciting. And I've met other people that make podcasts. So I'm hoping that this will continue to be a fun project, but will also lead down other avenues. Okay.
So are you ready for some personal question?
Yes.
My whole idea is I want the people I interview not only to expose to the public what they do, but I want also the people to know who's behind the person. Okay? So first question, do you believe in life after death?
Yes.
What makes you believe?
Well, I believe in God, and I am a Christian, and I was raised in a Christian household, but also, like, if you look around, our world is just so, like, how are we here? Like, everything's just so perfect for life to be here, and like, the moon is the perfect distance away from the earth, and the sun, and all, it's like, it's just all so perfect that I believe in God, and I do believe in life after death. When my Oma passed away, I was really, really worried about her. And like, I was wondering, I was in this spot in my life where it was just really like a lot of turmoil. And she was the first person that passed away that I was close to. And so I prayed and I asked if she was okay. And then not even 5 minutes later, when I got in my car, this other car pulled in front of me. And on the license plate, it said Oma. And that to me was a sign from her that she was okay. And I know that probably sounds silly to a lot of people, but to me it wasn't. Like, to me it was like her saying that she was okay.
Yeah, I do believe in life after death, for sure. Even for animals.
Yeah.
I'm going to say some things that people don't know. But when I lost my dog, I call him Mr. Muay Thai. He was a Rottweiler. He came from France with me in America. And the day we lost him, I was down. I almost want to commit suicide, how painful he was, you know. And on the third day, I pray and I say, show me a sign that you're okay. And what's happening was really weird, because when he passed away, the first thing I do the next day, I take his leash and I put it in the glass case, which was sealed, because my dog, I never put the leash on him. He carries this on his mouth always. Oh. So I put his leash in the case, was sealed, and I put a tree and St. Francis. And I still got the pictures with me on my wallet. And what's happened is, and I know again it's gonna sound weird for the people, but that's my story. So I put the leash in the box, and on the third day I say, you know what, if you're allowed, just show me a sign. And at night in my garden, we have light every like 10 feet. We have some light in my garden. I turn on the light and all of them blow up one by one. They completely break down, except one, the one in front of his leash and St. Francis and the tree.
Wow.
Since that, I was living in Huntington Beach. Since that, I never changed his light bulb. So my whole garden was only one light. It was his light.
Oh.
He was crazy. And the second thing in the morning, and this again is crazy, but in the morning, I went and I thanked for the sign because I was feeling, I find peace right away. Honestly, I was not depressed anymore. I find peace right away. And when I got the leash and I got the pictures, and I can share if you want online, when I take the pictures of the leash, inside the glass box, which was sealed, he was looking at someone inside who, and it was condensation inside, which is impossible because it was sealed. And I got the pictures as is there to prove it, you know. So I do believe in life after death, even more for animals. Yeah. Another question. Do you believe on UFO?
Yes. I've never seen one, but I've seen like video footage. I think it's kind of silly to think that we're alone in the universe. There's just so much of it out there. I've never personally seen one, but I like to give people the benefit of the doubt. And yeah, why not?
Do you have any podcast about this?
We have one episode about the Roswell incident that happened in the 1940s in New Mexico. And then next season, we're going to do one hopefully on Area 51. Okay.
Wow, okay. Do you believe in ghosts?
Yes. And I've never seen a ghost either. I'm boring. I haven't seen a UFO or a ghost. But I have heard people that I trust tell me like, oh yeah, I saw this ghost or I had this weird experience. And maybe one day I'll be lucky enough to have one. Hopefully it's good, like a friendly ghost.
Is there something in your life that is a mystery? Something, a mystery in life, something when it happened to you or something you don't understand, and every time you're like, wow, I could not explain this. It's a mystery for me. Is there anything that... Already life is a mystery.
Yeah, life is a mystery. And just like different times when I've had an experience where I got out of something, like, or why something didn't end up even more terrible than it could have been.
Okay.
Actually, I took your self-defense class, and one of the reasons I took it was I had an experience a long time ago, and I was like, I should probably learn how to defend myself. I was stage managing a play. It was like a children's play at the park, and I had to get there early, and I pulled in, and I noticed that this car was following me for a long time, and it pulled into the park too, and that was very odd. I lived in like a rural community, and when I was gonna get out of the car, I looked over, and this guy just stared at me. And it was not like a normal like stare. It was like, I could tell on his face that there was something not right. Mm-hmm. And I knew that I was going to get in trouble if I wasn't on time, but I knew I couldn't get out of the car. So I actually got on my phone. This is back before it was illegal. I was like, I called my grandma and I was like, somebody follow me. And she was like, I don't care. You just leave and whatever. And so I left, and when I pulled out, the look on his face, he looked so angry. I've never seen anybody look that angry before.
Wow.
And so I drove around, and when I came back and other people were at the park, I told them, they blew it off. The next day at that same park, they had an incident with somebody following people. And then not even 6 months later on the news, this guy's picture popped up on TV. He'd been shot by the police, and he had been stalking girls and women around town, making notes of where they were going. Wow. And he was shot because I'm not exactly sure what happened, but I was like, that could have been me. Like if I had gotten out of my van, like my car that day, I probably wouldn't have been here. Mm-hmm. Wow. And just something, told me like, don't do it. My grandma told me, but like something inside of me also warned me. And I think God was like, don't do it, you know?
Wow.
So, yeah.
Wow. That's crazy. He got, and you know what? My postcard, I tell it like it is. He got what he deserved. You know, because if he was not short, how many people he could have hurt? So he got what he deserved.
He had notes on probably, I think, 30 different people that he had been stalking, trying to figure out like which one.
Yeah. But if you really look also, like, even this guy's not there anymore, he still put a print of himself in your brain, you know, on your mind. And how many women did the same thing?
Yeah.
So he's not there, but he's still there.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
So if you could ask a wise man any question that you want to know the answer, what will it be? What do you ask him?
So something that I always struggle with is wondering, like, if I'm doing the right thing or if I'm going to regret doing something or not regret doing something. So I would ask them what they regret the most.
Mm-hmm. Now, one thing about that, you know,
if they didn't regret something, I would ask them if there was anything that they wish they would have done more.
Yeah. But try to do again. That's my way. I always think, analyze things. Try to do everything you can, because I say the pain of regrets, you know, weigh tons, and the pain of taking action, it's ounces. So you don't want to die with regrets. Do everything you can, but never die with regrets. One question: what have you learned since you do a podcast about you? Something you learned that you didn't know before in the podcast, like, wow, wake up something inside you.
So doing the podcast, I've learned that I can, like, I've normally been like parts of projects, but this project has mostly been done by myself. Like, I decided to take it on. My friend, my co-host helps a lot. Like, she created our logo, and she's a co-host. But I've done all the marketing, all of the editing and the publishing and figuring out the logistics of it. And I think I learned that the hardest part of anything is starting it. Just starting it. And then also, and I think part of that's tied to fear. Like, a big part of starting anything is like worry and fear that it's not going to work out, and letting go of that and just saying it doesn't matter whether or not it works out. At least you tried, and you know that. And I've learned that I'm a lot more capable than I previously thought. So I thought, oh my gosh, this is going to be so hard. Like, I'm never going to be able to get it done. Or the first day that I edited the podcast to like be released, the day that they were supposed to be released, I almost didn't release them. I was like, oh my gosh, they're not going to be on time, and this, that, and the other thing. And I couldn't get iTunes Store. I had everything that could go wrong went wrong. And I started panicking, and my husband was like, it's fine, it's going to be fine. Because to me, it was like this big deal in my mind, but it wasn't a big deal. Like, and it worked out. Everything worked out fine. Yeah. Yeah.
And the best thing to do it right is to do it wrong the first time.
Yes.
And also, like we say, you don't have to be great to start, but just to start to be great.
At the start, yeah. And you'll get better over time. And now, so the first time I edited a podcast, it probably took me, I don't even know, maybe 17 hours just to edit it correctly. Now I can do it in about 3.
Yeah.
So it's a lot easier.
You know, like when I teach a class, a lot of time my students tell me, man, coach, you're so good in what you're doing. What is the secret? I'm just doing that a few thousand times, 100,000 times easy. So that's the best way, you have to keep doing and not giving up.
Yeah.
Now, Chacha, if I take Chacha, Shali, and I put you in an island with all the comfort, a house and everything, but ask you to bring 3 things with you, 3 objects or 3 things, what's it going to be?
So one set of objects is my husband and my dogs.
1, 2.
Yeah, I love my dogs. And it's not to eat them. I know that.
Yeah.
And then some form of entertainment. So I really like to read. So either a book that magically changes into new stories.
There we go. It's something to create.
Yeah.
Now, if I bring you right now and I bring you back 10 years ago, and you can talk to yourself 10 years younger, what will you say to the young Chacha?
So I would say to be nicer to myself. Sorry, my dog's snoring. I would also say not to worry so much about dumb stuff. And not to worry, just not worry less, like rely on God more, but worry less. He's got the best interest for you. You don't need to worry as much. And also not to worry about people so much. I always worry about like what people think. Like, are they going to like me? Or are they going to this or that? Most of the people that I worried about liking me when I was in college or high school, they don't even matter anymore. It's not that, and the people that were my friends then are still my friends. Like the people that mattered then, that truly mattered, they're still my friends, or the ones that mattered stuck around. The ones that I thought I had to impress and that I wasn't really friends with, or people that I thought I needed to impress, like certain professors, they don't matter anymore. To me, like they're not involved in my life. The ones that I never felt the pressure to impress, they're still in my life.
Yeah.
The ones that I felt.
One thing is important to know, that when we speak about again the outside, what people think of you and everything, I was speaking about the coronavirus right now, that we complain so much about being inside the house and everything, when you got thousands of homeless outside that will beg to be inside the house, cover, and have food and shower and everything. So when we look at the outside, when people complain, I told them, what is the alternative? Exactly. And when you look on the other side of the window, you're like, wow. And again, I told people, I thought this week a few times online, I said to people, when you're at home, you're not locked inside the house, you're in a safe place. It's a safe place, And when you see life like that, it's kind of like, and after do example, what you're doing right now it's important, because if you really look, you're doing stuff about with your life, you're doing stuff with your life. And I said to the people is that for people who believe in God, I told them, okay, the body we have is a gift from God. And what we do is that it's a gift to God. And we don't want to lose the time, because time is so precious. And what you're doing, you're living your life, you're living your dream and everything. And that's what everybody has to do. Do something. And whenever you mess up at the beginning, it doesn't matter. At least you're doing, So yeah. This is for me very important. And one thing, if someone wants to start a podcast and they've never done in their life, it's the first time they want to do it. They want to become like you. What advice will you give them?
It's real easy to become like me. The advice that you don't need a lot of equipment or a fancy setup. I literally do the podcast with my computer and my phone. And my friend has her phone. We use those. Listen to podcasts, decide what genre you want to do. Figure out, look up tutorials on editing, or ask someone that knows a lot about it. And what else? Oh, basically be patient with yourself. Like you were saying, like at first, when you first start out, you think it's going to be so great. You're like, yes, it's going to be awesome. And then you hit that bump and you're like, oh, this is a lot more work than I thought. Like spending 17 hours editing one 20-minute episode, that's a lot of work. And also you think that certain things are going to be gold and they're not. So every episode that we record is about 2 hours worth of audio, and I reduce it down to about 25 to 20 minutes. So you do a lot of work for a little episode, but I feel like those have the most impact.
Okay. One more question. This is the last one. If you were God for a day, what change will you make to the world?
That's a really hard question. I think I'm going to keep it the same. I would have everyone realize that they're important and that they're loved. And I would try to make sure that they give love to each other and eliminate greed and pride and yeah. I just want people to like be nice to each other and value each other.
You see, you just did one thing, and that most of people do and they don't pay attention. When you have someone, show me yourself, who we are exactly. You say, give me love, you know, it's about love, give me love, give love, give love. And you point your hand, people can see that on the interview, you point your hand to your heart. So when you say to someone like, show me who you are, nobody do that, so do that, they always do that. So we all heart. We are all heart. We just have to find out, you know, and give it, because the best way to receive is to give. And that's exactly what you did, you know. So Chacha, now to finish, again, it was Slightly Credible podcast. Chacha, how can people find you again? Show us the logo. Here we go. This can see the logo. Show us the logo one more time. It's a beautiful logo, Slightly Credible. So give us all information out. People can find you, listen to you. Can people ask you questions and everything?
Yes. So you contact us on any of our social media platforms. We're at Slightly Credibles on Instagram and on Facebook. We also have a website, slightlycredibles.com. Mm-hmm. You can listen also on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, iHeartRadio, Spotify, anywhere you can find a podcast, we're there. And if we're not, I suggest, and I'll put it there.
Fantastic. So again, guys, I highly recommend you to listen to Slightly Credible and the website slightlycredible.com, the podcast and everything. Chacha, it was a real pleasure to have you on this first interview, and keep us updated. And again, thank you for your time. I really appreciate it. And again, guys, listen to slightlycredible.com. It is worth all second. Chacha, thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me.
Anytime. Bye-bye.
Bye.